Welcome back to Wise Words with SJ, a show where we talk about wisdom or experiences that you or I have had and how we navigate our life after that experience. And today I'm going to talk about sexual abuse. It's a lot in the news, especially what's happened with some of the actors and stars from Nickelodeon. I don't know if you've seen anything about that. I have. But if you've been abused in any way, shape, or form, you could always reach out to any professional who can help you. I'm just going to share my experience with sexual abuse, what happened to me, and just tell you that a lot of us, I don't know why, have gone through it. You know, I was a little girl living in Brooklyn, and back in the day in the 50s, you let your kids go out and play in the street, So I wanted to get an ice cream. I asked my mother, can I go and get an ice cream? She gave me a dime. That's all they cost back then. She said, make sure you ask someone to help you cross the street. So the candy store was across the street on 14th Avenue in Brooklyn. So I went across the street, got the ice cream, and then I saw these cars coming. There was this old man. He looked like a rabbi. He had a long beard, and I asked him if he could help me cross the street. He said, yes, and you're going to come home with me. And I just went, wait a minute, like, very trusting little girl, 6 or 7, and I went home with him. And I was there for hours. And I remember sitting on his lap. And I don't know what else was going on because I don't really remember. I just remember sitting on the lap. But I finally, somehow, must have been hours, he finally let me go if I promised to come back there. Of course, I said yes. And then when I went out, it was around the corner from my apartment. Everybody was looking for me. Where have you been? Your mother's looking for you. And I said, uh-oh, I'm going to get in trouble now. So I walked, instead of how I normally would walk, would be the front of the block, I walked around the back of the block, and there I was. And instead of, like, my mother's reaction to when trouble happened was, instead of, like, grabbing the kid and saying, oh, I'm so glad you're safe, she got angry with me and punished me and sent me to my room. Like, did you get blamed for something that you never really did in this area? I was, and I didn't even know what I was doing because I went along with this guy. So, my life was never the same after that. And I remember drawing pictures of naked people and, at 6 or 7, and, I would hide them in my mattress and my mother would find them. What is this? What have you done? Well, that's where it all began for me. You begin to sexualize everything at a very young age. And I lost my way in that area because, man must have molested me. Has that happened to you? It's very, very difficult to surmount and go through this over the years and understand that if that happened to you, you were never the same, and your childhood is lost from that moment on. And it's just a very sad thing. And the next time it happened to me, we lived in an apartment building, another apartment building, of course. And the manager of the apartment building had me come down. I was like young, 13, 14. Had me come to his apartment, another one of these dirty old men, as I used to call them, come down here and sit on his lap and, started kissing me and everything like that. I'm like, and he said, if you tell your mother, I'm going to kick you out of this apartment building. So, of course, I didn't want to be kicked out of the apartment. I'm held hostage by a secret and you come back here too. And in fact, what I used to do is another one is I would when I was coming home, I wouldn't go around the same way that his apartment was. I would go the back route and go up the steps so I wouldn't ever have to see him. See, your life is never the same. It's very difficult to go through all of this. And I didn't tell about this or talk about it for many years. And then when I did tell my mother, she said, if I had known, I would have killed him. See, that's the temper my mother had. She would have. So I'm glad I never told her. We all have secrets like this, secrets that we've held in, things that have happened to us for so many years, that we're ashamed. We blame ourselves. Are you blaming yourself for this? You were a child. You didn't know what you were doing. It's not your fault. Now, what does a child know about whether an old man is going to kidnap them or take them to his house? Or a manager of a building who's an older man, is going to molest you. You don't know about any of that. You just feel like, oh my God, somebody's paying attention to me at that age. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Someone thinks I'm cute at 13 or 14. I love that. Of course. You don't know that it's wrong, and you have these feelings inside of you, like it's wrong for somebody to do that to you. If you had this happen to you, it's not your fault. And my mother had to work all the time. She was never home. So, of course, they take advantage of this situation. Don't they? I could only imagine, especially if you're a young actor, which I was not. I was just a schoolgirl, how people would take advantage of you. They get close to your parents, and then they manipulate you a lot of times against your parents. Has this happened to you? I'm sharing my experience that I needed a lot of therapy to get through this in later years, because I used to blame myself. Like, what did I do to encourage this person to act this way towards me? I wasn't mature looking. In fact, I was tiny. I mean, wasn't developed. I was underdeveloped. What made that person think that they could take advantage of me? Mostly because we lived in a building where my mother was working all the time. My father wasn't around. So all I'm saying is, don't blame yourself for something like this when it happens. It's not easy getting through these experiences. And a lot of times you have to live throughout your life saying that this happened to you in later life. And it affects relationships with other people. Always. So don't beat yourself up about this. If you want to share any of your experiences with me, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist. I'm just somebody who has been through this same thing and want to help you with it. And if you want to write to me about it, I understand. I get it. I understand. So I forgive my mother for getting angry with me. That's how she behaved towards me about it. And I forgive her. But I'm glad I never told her, because if she would have killed that manager of the building, we wouldn't have a place to live. So I'm happy that didn't happen. And if it happened to you, surround yourself with love of people who respect you and treat you well and not see you as an object at all. I love all of you, so be good to yourself today. Look in the mirror and go, I'm a good person and I love myself. I do that every day, yeah. And by the way, our next episode will be checklists for dating and relationships and first date etiquette. So, I love all of you, and I hope I helped you if you were having a problem with that today. And thank you very much for listening to my words, and I hope they're wise. And please email me at wisewords@jltv.tv, and I'll answer all your questions, whether you like it or not.